Hi, Mukut. Morning.
Hi, Zubin.
Uh,
Hey,
Good morning. Okay,
good
I think
morning
we
to
are
you.
live. So, good morning, everyone, and I'm really, really happy to be here chatting with Mukut. Mukut is the vice president of Tamara. Uh, Incidentally, great company, Mukut. You're doing so many wonderful things there. Love that. But we are here not to talk only about Tamara. We're here to celebrate Mukut's incredible journey, a journey that spans the length and breadth of the hospitality industry and a side dabble into the music world. Mukut, it was really really glad to see you. We were really really happy to see you on campus in January. We love your passion with music. We love all the energy that you bring into a room. So
Thanks.
um,
Thanks so much, Zubin.
so really really happy to have you here at this alumni reconnect session. Thank you for being here. Okay,
Thanks. Thanks, Zubin.
so the first question, which is pretty much the obvious one that I'm going for,
Sure.
you are a great musician. We've heard you sing, we've heard you play. I love your playlist. It's the what the new generation might call the golden oldies, but for me, it's evergreen, wonderful music. Tell me about the stint at Magna Sound. And it's strange. Hotel management to music. How did you manage to combine that two?
Fabulous. Yeah, thanks, Zubin. You've touched a very special chord, I have to say that. So this actually happened at the hotels. I was always in two boats. I loved music for most of my life. And I was working Golden Dragon those days. And the chairman, and back then I was, as anyone would, having a gush of thoughts in my head, about music and what I left behind, and I very often think about, the jazz, the blues, the concerts, and potentially, I started meeting live musicians in Bombay, and I was the thick of it, right? Bombay was the epicenter of music when it came to. In fact, the day I joined Taj, I met band that played for the band that played for. I'm trying to remember the Sufi singer Kailash Kher. It was a the one day before I joined the Taj. I met them in a train. So I was so incredibly embedded with the musicians in Bombay because I was sort of, having conversations with them. The thought never left my mind. And this one time, my friend, who's actually Toral Agarwal, they own ABC Consultants, wrote to me saying, Sony is looking for an A&R manager. They're looking for somebody outside the industry, somebody who understands music and also has a passion for music and need not be in the music business. So I went up there, I did that interview. Sridhar Subramaniam, who's I think still now the Asia Pacific managing director, really liked the interview and put me up to meet the then MD, who rejected me because I didn't know Hindi music. And for me, Lucky Ali actually, he asked me about Lucky Ali, and I didn't know about Lucky Ali, and I didn't have his album. So he that was the first time, outside of Taj, I had an interview when they rejected me. So I came back, and the managing director of Magna Sound, he was a regular at Golden Dragon, and very often he would call me in. I'd be serving at his table, I'd be ordering his food, and he'd call me in and say, "Hey, please be a witness to the artist's signature." So when the artist would sign a contract with the CEO, I would be a signatory or a witness to that signature on that contract. So I turned around and told him, "Hey, how come they rejected me? What was it about Lucky Ali that I missed? And why was he so big, etc." So he says, "You know what? Why don't you come on board, join us at Magna Sound, and we'll go places. We're going places, right?" And they had Daler Mendi, Sonu Nigam,
Right.
Strings. No, that time Daler Mendi, Sonu Nigam, and Magna Sound also brought Madonna and Warner Brothers to India. So I was fascinated by that idea. They called me over to their office, and I saw a truckload of CDs, truckloads of CDs. So for the very first time, I bunked work. I've never done that. I bunked work, a full shift. And I still remember I was supposed to take the Pepsi count that day. We saw these soda dispensers. So I was assigned the task of, making sure that the soda dispensing count on the machine tallied with the register. So it was a
Right.
mission critical task. I missed it. I skipped it and went to Magna Sound to collect those CDs because Warner's alliance with Magna Sound had broken. And they literally told me that a road roller is going to go over these compact discs. And I said, no way, I'm going to go and collect all the Led Zeppelin I can. And I picked up all those CDs, and I suddenly had 250, 300 CDs at home. And at the back of
Wow.
that, call came Taj. So my roommate said, I know where he is. He's at Magna Sound. So they called Magna Sound, and Magna Sound said, yes, he's here in the go down. And the F&B manager called me up and said, what's going on? You're supposed to be here. And I said, well, you know what? I had this incredible offer last night. I couldn't regret it. It happened to be last night. No, I was there. And that was, well. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. So I switched over to Magna Sound, and I started working in what's called, they call me manager marketing services. So I would do shows in retail stores, take artists down to retail stores and do in-store promotions and things like that. So, well, that's
Amazing.
yeah, Zubin. That's
That
my
must have
stint
been
with Magna Sound.
2 incredible years of your life. Was it? Was it 2 years?
2.5
Did it get?
actually. Two and a
Yeah.
half, and it also was the pivot for mine into sales, for me to move to sales and marketing. So I was an F&B operations guy, and artists and music is all about positioning, marketing, and so it gave me a peek into videos and media and PR and things like that, which I would have not otherwise had exposure to. So it kind of soft landed me into sales and marketing, which is where I picked up from, and incredibly, when I got my job at the Hyatt, a part of the deal was that I'd bring an artist to their loyalty program pro bono.
Wow.
And here's who I got. I got that day. I had somebody called Kamal Khan. Kamal Khan happened to be a friend of Salman Khan. So Salman Khan came along. So I had
Wow.
Kamal Khan, Salman Khan, and Katrina Kaif
Wow.
in the same party. So all that happened, and I joined Hyatt with loyalty marketing. So it all kind of threads through.
Amazing. That's so incredible, because when people, I meet so many parents now, and they say we don't know anything about this industry, hotel management. And I say it's not hotel management anymore. You're not preparing people for hotels. You're preparing them for the world. What do you think? I mean, you've got an incredible story. You've had an incredible life, an incredible journey. What do you think? Do you think if you would have had this fun in life if you had any other, maybe humanities as a subject over there?
So I've always had. It's a good question, Zubin, because I've always had two streams of thoughts, right? So I've kind of rooted myself as a generalist with sales and marketing, and then I've done feasibility. Whereas some others have been very, very clear. They want to be general manager and CEO. So I take that international exposure. And so it really, really is, there is no set path. The only thing you can say is that you own the decisions you make. And, if you own the decision you make, then that's a great path. So if you are natively, when you join hotels, you typically don't know, you've just come out of school. So at least in my time, I didn't really know where I was heading. I just knew that this was a jump I'd take, right? And I barely knew anything about hotel management. I went with the flow, and I went with instinct. I went with passion, and I did music actually in hotel school. So, you know, but hey, you know what? It all pays off, and you kind of, if you have passion and if you have energy, right, and if you have the right intent, and if you have, if you're conceptually clear about who you want to be and why you're making those decisions, and you're able to sort of, clear your head with all those thoughts, because you'll always have 1,000 thoughts that kind of come to you. Then you're very clear. And I was always very clear that I would want to pivot at any point in time. And that's why I chose kind of from food and beverage to sales and marketing. And then in sales and marketing, I super specialized in digital marketing. And then from there, I moved to feasibility. So,
No, absolutely. And I really love the part that you've continuously upskilled yourself. Digital marketing, you've gone even beyond that, right? Business acumen, revenue management. It's incredible. So
I've had a lot of fun.
yeah, but what's you've put so much of an emphasis on what should I say, higher education or continuing education. But you were the first batch at IHM Aurangabad. It's a life-changing decision. And why would you go with a new college? I just want to understand the mindset at that time.
My dad went there. Actually, the thing is, I got through to Moneyball, and I didn't take it up back then. For I think it was about costing about 4.5 lakh rupees, and also there was some sort of there were some rumors about how things were going. So my parents said, I'm not too sure you should do this one. And in school, I studied in Lamont near Calcutta. They had a small notification that came in. They put up a poster, and one of my friends saw that and said, "Hey, Taj is offering, their first school." So my dad went there, went to this hotel school and saw the facility and was super impressed. And he said, "I think, and then we met, who's the zonal head? I think that time the East Calcutta zonal head. So there were a lot of endorsements that came in. This is, they're very, very serious, and this is going to be Ajit Kerkar's, so there was, and I had people who were working at Taj Bengal who kind of told me that, look, this is going to be a really good bet. So I guess, I wanted a professional degree. I didn't want a generalist BCom. And that, and I wanted to sort of, leave the city as well. I've spent so many years in Kolkata. So it gave me a fresh, burst of energy, a new cohort, a new batch of friends, and it was a new start. So I think all in all, it was a really good decision for me that I took, because it was a professional life-changing decision. And it's so surreal that I'm having this conversation with you now, after 30 years. I mean, who would know? I had no clue that I'd be, about where I'd be today.
I know exactly how you feel, because when we were at that age, when we were 20 and less than 20, we used to look at people who were 50 years old and say, so old, they're probably going to die now. You remember we used to find that people should be dying when they're 50, and here we are 50 thinking we are in the prime of our life. So coming back, I see you've got a wide range of experience in the hospitality industry. You've got business hotels, you've got leisure retreats. What's the part that you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy the business hotel vibe? Do you enjoy the leisure comfort vibe? Do you and because hospitality industry has so much to offer. Yeah. But for you, where do you see yourself?
Oh, I'm really enjoying the part I'm doing right now. This is at the apex of the business. This is, deal making, right? So it brings everything together, revenue, financial modeling, feasibility, finance, engineering, which I wasn't great at in college, or even later on. But it's tested me on that side as well. Architecture, but more importantly, and very very importantly, I think I'm able to my energy or my people say that, but let's say my ability to resonate with the owner. I think to empathize and to work with him right constructively towards a deal. That I think is what I really really enjoy now, which is basically and you know hey, with the chat GPT and things like that, it's really really leveled a lot of skills. So what would have otherwise taken me 7 8 years to pick up, today it's available at your fingertips. So communication, communication has been key to that pivot. So I guess the ability to genuinely work with the owner, my passion to sort of deal on the business side, is striking a deal which kind of makes sense, understanding the contours, and then being able to work with it through positive and clear communication. I've been enjoying this the most. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, you did. And the next question, which is built up on something that you just spoke about. You spoke about ChatGPT, and yesterday I was in another meeting where people had multiple things to say about the younger generation, uh, wondering where they are headed, all kind of calamity news. What are your thoughts about it? And even if you have a few negative things to say, I would like to hear at least one or two positive things about the new generation.
I only have positive. And
Okay.
especially for IHME, I'm especially for us, because here's what I think the just let's look at the people who come from IHME. Who were they, and what are they known for? They're known for their aptitude with numbers, right? A whole bunch of them are in the revenue management cohort. They're coming from a certain. They're coming from a certain intelligent space, a certain social space, which puts them at an advantage. So I would say that right now, for our kind of college and for our sort of tribe, this is the way to go. And the you have to be able to embrace it productively and in ways that people aren't. And I'd say agentic more than AI is the way to go, because it's about it, it's going to be autonomous, it's going to be automation, it's going to be less people and labor intensive, and we should be, just as we were just as we have sort of borne that torch on the revenue management side. I think this is the next thing that we must get a hold of, and skill ourselves in the right direction. So don't and always say that talking about layering, your yourself, choose a direction, and then IHMA is going to give you the foundation, but you have to choose the layers that are on top of that to make sure that you're hitting the ball out of the park in areas that you want to hit. And so the world's completely changing. And you don't really need to know code to write automation anymore, as they say, and I'm sure we're kind of figuring. So the students are figuring it for themselves. So I think it's very, very good. We must embrace it. We must skill ourselves accordingly, and we're going to get a head start.
Wonderful. So building on that question, what do you think to succeed, not to survive, to succeed in the modern world? What are the 3 or 5 skills that somebody should graduate with?
Well, the skills are the same. You still will need a very high EQ. You will need a lot of social intelligence. You're still going to need people skills, so that's not going to change. Uh, I think being very, very how you sort of deal with yourself. keeping a positive outlook, being very, very deterministic about how you're spending time thinking in your own head, controlling your thoughts, being optimistic, you know, uh, being able to sort of, fight against any kind of, and essentially any sort of objection and staying strong. These are very, because you're going to be inundated with thoughts, inundated with decisions, knowing when to pause, knowing when to sort of, stay positive. These are going to be the main the skills that will actually rule. And of course, layering that with skills that count today, and and it's changing. So keeping abreast with all that's happening, choosing your niche, because it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be as hierarchical. Hierarchy. It's going to be as hierarchical. It's going to be a flatter organization. It was a flat world. It's getting flatter still. So making sure that you have the fundamentals, which I would always underpin on your emotional intelligence, social intelligence, your ability to deal with people, and layering that with focused skills that take you in direction would be great. I went with the flow. I'm not saying that's necessarily the best way to go about it. It's good to have a plan and try and
Bringing
get
it.
that. Yeah, and sort of dreaming it and figuring it out. I'd say that a lot of people have managed to sort of, get really ahead of the curve if they're, to sort of envisage it.
Awesome. And if you could alter two or three things in your life, if you had the chance to go back in time, what would they be? Would there be different decisions? Would there be different choices made?
Well, the thing is, you choose signals, and I had a couple of pivotal points. Everybody went to Widener from, half our batch went to the US. So I took the credits, but suddenly the Magna Sound offer came, and I sort of gave it all up because I wanted to give music a dab. So that was one pivotal change I made. Number two, leaving Bombay. That was a big one. I think, for the good and bad, I came to Bangalore, and, I'm based out of Bangalore now. I think Bombay was, Bombay was really, really, that was another big decision that I made. So, yeah, three, revenue management. I've always sort of, thought about it. I've applied it in my work, but I've always chosen the generalist path as opposed to narrowing down on that niche, because it is a niche. Revenue management is a very specific desk, and I've always wanted to be a people-facing, so those are decisions I took. So good or bad, you can never tell, because it's it's the end of the journey. But those are some key decisions I took. Yeah, number one, going to the US. Two, I think revenue management, yes or no, and number three, the reason I quit Bombay to come to Bangalore for various reasons. I kind of I don't regret it. I've been based in Bangalore, and I have a band here. I play my music, and here I am at Tamra. I'm doing business development, which I would have probably not thought of at any point in time. So yeah.
Speaking of Tamra, Tamra is doing. In fact, just yesterday I was involved in a conversation with Tamra came up, and they involved in some brilliant work, because it came up in the conversation with regards to Tamra's internship, where they take these students, pay them a very good stipend, and keep them on projects. So would you like to share about what Tamra is doing and what they're doing differently?
So I would say Tamra is a very, very forward-thinking company. We're we have about 9 hotels currently. We're 9 more hotels that we have in development. So 18 hotels that we own and operate. That's a critical. It's Tamra is also basically investment by two promoters, Mr. S.T. Shivalal and his daughter, and Chris Gopalkrishnan. So they're co-founders at Infosys. And there's a company culture that's sort of pervaded. In a small company like ours, there's a certain culture and a certain organizational language, if you would call it that, that has sort of permeated in our organization, which you would only get typically in a large format company. And language, to me, of course, has been a critical reason to be in a company. If you have the right, if you're using the right language, you're in a good place. So the Tamra is also a very tech friendly company. There's we're doing a lot of work with AI. Shruti has just launched Anticipatory, which is an agentic company. So we're doing some work there. We're an email-free company, so we're email-free in the sense it's we consider it we're using a proprietary communication ERP communication platform, which is a lot like Slack and things like that, which sort of
Right.
democratizes, yeah, cuts the whole Chinese whisper. So uh, we're we, as a company, this is a great company to work for within the hotel set, privately held. Uh, if and we're forward thinking, we're growing. We want to be at about 50 to 60 hotels in 2030. We're signing one hotel a quarter on the asset light side. We're buying one or two hotels every year. So uh, there's expansion, there's technology, there's culture. So I think these are the three things. And there's, I think, another critical pivot that you would have heard about is responsible. So responsible, when we say responsible, we mean responsible not just to responsible to nature, but
Sustainability.
responsible
Yeah.
to not only that, but responsible to the entire ecosystem, to employees, to community, to the locality over there, just being responsible holistically. So there's that value system that sort of permeates in our organization. So yeah, uh, the intern
Ab-
programs great, and
Absolutely.
a whole bunch of large people working here as well. Let me give you that as well. So
So absolutely, that's where I'm coming from. In a When people have this view that employees are constantly exploited in the hospitality industry, brands like IHCL, Tamara are showing that it's not. And I really, really appreciate the fact that when you have the opportunity to exploit somebody, you turn around and say no. And that's great corporate culture. And that corporate culture cannot come from writing an SOP, or it has to permeate from the top down. It has to be
correct.
ingrained in every employee. You're speaking about language. What are the other things that Tamara does different?
See, just on that part, Zubin, and there's a lot of empathy I have for, obviously, for our school, right? I'm from there. I want to just touch upon the word exploit. See, the point is, the main question that you have to ask yourself is, who's in control? Are you in control? Because you always got to be in control. If you're letting someone else be in control, it's your decision to let them be in control momentarily, right? So if you think that you're being exploited, but you're letting him control part of that situation, that's part of the long-term negotiation. In your head, you're not being impulsive, you're taking a longer view on situations, and you're managing it. There have been many times when I've been sort of, where I've felt a bit short in an exchange with a senior. But I know that I work for the larger brand of Tata's, and there's a larger career ahead of me, and I managed it. And there are a whole bunch of people who've got very, very powerful ability to deal cognitively with situations. So you've got to know yourself and your ability to deal with that situation, you know, uh, and your ability to sort of, whether you were the kind to sort of, come out of a situation immediately, or if you're like me. What I like to do is I like to sleep over it, give it a few days. I'm typically the guy who says, hey, let's count to 10 from here. It's not going the right direction. Drink a glass of water, and we'll deal with it. If so, you make your decision about who you are, but eventually you're in control. So that's going to happen to everybody, and regardless of who you work with. And you can't let that get the better of you. You've got to remember you're in control. Who's in control? It's very
I
important.
love I love the spin you've put on it. I love the perspective you've come with it. And I think I've probably tried to say the same thing. I've gone hoarse trying to say this to people that it's never about exploitation. It's about trying to do it, trying to be at it continuously till you get the skills right. Because I think our industry is unique in that sense that you blend skills with acumen. Nowhere else you either need acumen or you need skills, and this is the one great industry that blends the two. So there are other things that very very unique things that your company is doing, and they're breaking ground in a very different way, from the choice of
Yes.
locations, from the choice of properties. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we're our. If your question is how we select properties, so we've got three brands: the Dhamra Resorts, which we will always own and operate, or at least right now the decision is that we own and operate it. They're built ground up. They're not going to be conversion hotels. They're going to be greenfield. We're picking them up from the ground, conceptualizing it and building it for that particular narrative. We have the Obai Tamra and we have the Lilac. The Obai Tamra is, it's similar to a Vivanta, similar to a Marriott. It's by and large, there are two versions of it: the 150 room block, typical, columnar block, two double-sided
Right.
corridors. And there's also a leisure version to it. And Lilac, on the other hand, is a single, G+5 structure, 100 room, 250 room block. We also have a resort version of it. We're coming up with two more brands. One is the Faith brand, and we're also launching what's called the Heritage brand. So we'll have in all five brands that we're taking to market. Now, the fundamentals of how we select property are: A, they need to have the right fire and safety. That's critical to our spec. The building codes, it's not about the local building codes, but about the way we see building codes, and if they are correct with that. Number two, uh, the right amount of, as we know, this is, as they say, there's the front of the house and the back of the house, and the back of the house, the heart of the house. So you have to have the right ratio of back of the house to front of the house, and the service engineering or the flow engineering from back to front. So that's something that we look at very, very critically. Once we've got the sort of fire and safety out of the way from a guest perspective, we look at. And the third thing is the experience that we offer customers. Is it true to the brand, the brand expression? So, if it's a Tamra resort, what is so unique about the resort that's, true to the lay of the land? If it's an outstanding hotel, if it's Obai Tamra, it's got to be outstanding. And what's outstanding about this hotel? If it's Lilac, then, it's what is so special about this sort of upper mid-scale hotel, which speaks to the younger generation. So those are, we're very clear about brand identity. We're clear about fire, fire, life, and security. We're very, very clear about back of the house. These are the three main pivots that we look at, apart from other standardization specs like room size, corridor widths, and bathroom and other functional aspects of hotel design.
Wonderful. That's such an engaging story, and I think I'm going to connect with you offline to find out more, because
Sure.
maybe we can come there and get our faculty development program done based on this. I mean, I really find it fascinating. One last question. I know you've been very generous with your time. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you, Zoe.
One
Thank you, Dr. Zubin.
one last very question for
Sure.
you. Any words of advice for young people choosing this career or choosing to leave this institute and launch themselves into this big wide world?
Number one, I'd say take the opportunity. Don't sort of analyze, paralyze. You're more often than not, you're going to get ahead of. You're going to come out on the winning side. Number two, stay very strong in the head. Very, very strong in the head. Don't be doubtful about anything, because it's really, really a winning mindset. Always a winning mindset. Even when you speak to yourself, not just when you speak with others, but in your own head, have a very strong winning mindset. It's always going to, pay off. Number three, always you will be influenced by a lot of people around you. I'm sure you'll work in the different cultures, different zones. Stay while you pick up from everything around you. Stay grounded to what your real values are, and be very, very aware that you're dealing with people, and eventually it's your ability to deal with people that will get you ahead.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mukut Chakravarti. Mukut, thank you so very much. First batch to graduate from IHM Aurangabad. And it was absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your generous words of advice. And we really hope to see you on campus soon. Okay.
Thank you,
Take
Dr.
care.
Zubin. Bye for now.
Take care. Ciao. Bye.